but it's fine.
It's so good.
The sound is still there.
Is it? So they could still hear me?
No, as in,
Oh,
like, I've actually unmuted you. Now we're live.
you're live. Okay. So again, uh, well, hello there. I forgot what I was meant to say here, but like I got it now. We're back, and it's a live stream again because we're very busy. So live stream is easy from time to time. So we might as well do it. Why not? Do I have sound?
You do.
Am I
That
just-
was
I
the
do.
point I was making. Is that
Okay.
I definitely have given you sound. I just
Okay.
didn't go live.
Okay, good. Okay. So I had sound before, but I wasn't live.
Yeah, you
but
were
now
live.
I'm live
Now
and I
you're
have
live,
sound
and
as
now
well.
you have sound. Exactly.
Beautiful. Like this is how we work. But anyway, here we are, and Katie's gonna introduce our lovely little podcast. If you don't know where you're at, just a little reminder.
Thank you, Ian. Yes, we can hear indeed. Hi everyone. Welcome to All the Films We Judged Before. I'm Katie. That's Lily K. Ta-da.
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 Toodaloo. And I have my top nod, as always. Uncle Iro, I love you. And we're going to talk about, what a surprise, Avatar The Last Airbender. I tried to get Elliot on, but Elliot is working, so he's not going to come on. And also, he was mean. I saw his tweet and he didn't like it, and I like that's what I gathered. So it wouldn't be a good conversation because I fucking loved it. But anyway, spoilers. What a surprise! I already talked about it, but here we are again because I love talking about Avatar. Anyway, we're gonna talk about Avatar because before we do that, I'm gonna ask, what did you watch in the past 2 weeks?
Oh
I guess?
gosh, great question.
You don't know.
I did not off the top of my head. Let me go check my Instagram feed.
Oh God,
When
the
was last-
receives are there.
Yeah, when was the last time we spoke? I think the last time we
Yeah.
spoke, I saw The Iron Claw, which I've
Yes.
been looking forward to.
Ian saw that, and he has emotional damage, I think.
It was very good. Zac Efron's brilliant in it, and it destroyed me at the end.
I figured, yeah.
Really did, and everybody in it's fantastic, and from the little bit I know about wrestling, it seemed very accurate. I mean, it's a very small amount. I know a lot of people who are very into wrestling, and I watched a little bit of Japanese wrestling on a live stream a little while ago,
Okay.
with some people who were big into wrestling. So I learned a little bit of bits and pieces about some things, but like it's not in my wheelhouse. I just like good movies, and this is a good movie. Zac Efron's very good in it, and yeah, the ending.
I wish I could watch it, but it's still not here. So what a surprise!
It's a good one to track down when it comes out properly.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And then I saw All of Us Strangers again. I went to see it because my local cinema put it on. So I went,
Okay.
sod it, I'll do that again. And it's much better the second time round. Now I understand what the story's going for, and it made me cry more the second time.
Okay.
It's a really good movie.
Okay. Fair.
Oh, but
Excellent.
Andrew Scott and Paul Mescal are wonderful in it.
I mean, Andrew Scott is always wonderful.
He is always wonderful. Oh god, my brain isn't working. I'm very sorry. I'm trying to keep thoughts together.
She's tired.
I'm very tired. We're both tired. We've had big weeks between the two of us.
Yes.
Lily's arguably a bit bigger than mine.
No. Both are big.
They're both big. They're big in different ways. One of them's
Yes.
a bit more monumental. Let's put it that way.
Shush. Stop it.
But yeah, Paul Mescal spoke about Andrew Scott's performance in that movie a couple of times, where he's like, the work that he does is phenomenal, and he thinks it's some of the best. And watching it again, I'm like, he is doing some incredibly subtle stuff with that performance that I think it's hard to grasp the first time round. The second time definitely gave me a lot more, what's the word? Appreciation for the entire thing as a whole, as opposed to, that feeling of when you're watching a movie for the first time, you kind of, at least I do, I'm constantly trying to get ahead of it, to try and understand what it's going for before it does it, as opposed to just watching it as is, which is why I like to watch some things twice just because it makes it easier to be like, I know what this is now, and now I can give it a sense of like, give it its space, and I think it definitely it needed that for me. And then I went and watched Brokeback Mountain on Monday.
He's Roger.
Which I have seen before, but like it was on at my local cinema, and I thought I'd watch it again. And yeah, I do love that movie. I always forget how suddenly and sort of a little bit out of nowhere, it like the end of the movie comes. I'm trying not to spoil Brokeback Mountain, which is nearly 20 years old, but like.
You know, there's still people who haven't seen it.
Still people who haven't seen it, but like, yeah, the sort of the final part of the movie it's not telegraphed. It just sort of just happens, and I'm like, I don't know if that works particularly well, but it's still a great movie.
It is,
and they're both so good in it.
Oh yeah, I remember when when it arrived to here. And Hungary is fucking homophobic, so they are awful over here about this whole thing. And it was only shown in one cinema, and we were on holiday in that city. And they showed it, and I was like, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it. And it was a full house.
Mm-hmm.
It was a full fucking house. And everyone who watched it fucking cried, and you couldn't hear any bad things. So it gave me faith in Hungarians, basically, that not all of them are awful.
Hey, no, there's no such thing as an entire group of people who are just awful, right? It's like, that's just not how people work. But yeah,
it's the hope.
No, that's just not how people work. Nobody's of it all good or all bad, and you can't generalize ever, really. I mean, maybe a little bit, but it's But yeah, it's a great movie, and
it is.
We can all aspire to Heath Ledger breaking Jake Gyllenhaal's nose because he kissed him so hard. One of my favorite facts about that entire movie. It's like, if you're not doing that, you're not going hard enough. Sorry.
I don't think I want my nose broken. Though.
No, I mean, if you're a couple of like, supposedly, because I would never want to presume sexuality of anybody. Presumably straight people playing gay roles, if you're not putting in that much passion into it, you're not doing enough.
Okay, that's a new lesson learned.
Yeah, that's my take on the whole thing. But yeah, it's a great movie. But that's as much as I've watched. Tell me about you.
Okay, I watched quite a few things.
Oh, boy.
I watched Players on Netflix, which is a new Gina Rodriguez and Tom Ellis movie. It was fun. It was a light-hearted rom-com, and it was alright. It was, it was a good watch. Very predictable, so nothing special, but it was fun. And then I found on Netflix as well. I found Villains, which I remember watching the trailer of, but I finally watched it. It's with Bill Skarsgård, Micah Monroe, and Keira Sedgwick. Fucking brilliant movie. I enjoyed it so much. It's like by the end it gets really dark, but I was like, yeah, it's great. It's still great, but it's very dark. At the end. Brilliant movie, highly recommend. It's on Netflix. And then I am trying to not look at my little notebook. I'm taking notes on everything I'm watching, but I'm like, I have to remember because it wasn't that much. I obviously also started Shogun, which is already turning out to be the greatest thing that we have this year, basically. The Bad Batch is back. The first 2 episodes I watched, I haven't watched the third one. The first 2 is beautiful. Just perfect. And then I went to the cinema. This is my second time in the cinema this year, which is very sad because I am the cinema goer, not Katie. Katie's the TV girl.
I like going to the cinema. I just don't watch another movie at home.
but like still, that's how we started. Now it's seemingly turning around where I'm like more at home watching like movies here and TV shows here, and you're more in the cinema, and I'm like, what happened? When did the roles change? So, but I did go to the cinema again yesterday. Actually, I watched Dune, Dune. I don't know how you say it.
Yeah.
Whatever, Dune. That's in Hungarian. That's the easiest way for me to say it. Part two. It was good. It was very groundbreaking in CGI. It was beautiful to look at. The acting was great. The story was good. No way in hell it's better than The Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, you're gonna have to clarify this for me because you brought this up yesterday, and I was like, "Who said so?"
Didn't you see the reports that it's already number one on the IMDb top 200?
I did not.
list?
I did not see this.
Yeah, it was all over the place, and I was like, no way in hell it beats The Shawshank Redemption, and it didn't. It's not true. That's false news, people. It's still The Shawshank Redemption in the first place.
I was at a gig last night, and I was having a great time, and having trouble connecting to a lot of connection because it was basically in a club. The gig was in a club, so there was just no signal half the time. Like I'd get a little bit for like half a second, and then it would disappear again. And I just get this text through as we're like rounding down out of the gig, and I'm like, okay.
But it's the truth.
And
It's the truth.
I mean, it was just like devoid of all context. I was like, why are you comparing the two of them?
That's the reason. That's the only reason. I was like,
That makes
no,
much more sense.
no. But it was good. Like, I think it's overhyped. I will put it like this. It's definitely overhyped. So like, it's still good, very good, but it's too much put on the. It's a masterpiece. It's the best thing you ever watch, and I'm like, okay, sure.
Haven't seen The Leftovers, 2014 to 2017. Best show.
There you go.
My beloved.
Overhyped.
Fuck
I'm
off.
joking. I'm joking. I also watched One Life. I watched many things. I watched One Life, which is Anthony Hopkins' movie about.
Oh yeah, I saw the trailer for that. It looked quite good.
It's a true story. Nicholas. Fuck, I forgot the last name again. Nicky. That's how they called him. It's not gonna come to me. It's gonna come to me at the end. If someone checks it, Ian, check it on IMDb, please, or own or someone. But it was a very good movie. Broke my heart into tiny little pieces. Nikki saved 696 children from Nazi Germany. So yeah, it was a very, very heavy subject, but it was beautifully done. And
Kind of a classic,
obviously,
British sort of made production, really, because it.
yeah. Oh yeah.
I saw the when the trailers came up. I was like, that's the most like. That's a British film.
It is 100%. It's a British film. And then the last thing is that I
Winston, he said.
Yes, thank you, Nicholas Winton. There you go. Beautiful man, beautiful human being. He lived till he was 106 years old, I believe.
Wow.
Well deserved that long life. Anyway, I caught up on Beef, which I haven't watched.
Oh.
But I watched it now. I will never watch it again. No fucking way in hell. It was fantastic. Don't get me wrong. It really is a very good show. It's fucking depressing. It just made me so sad by the end. And during the entire thing, if I'm completely honest, like, I just felt this weight of it all. And it just kept pushing me down. So it actually took me like 4 days to finish it. And it's just 10 episodes. And they are like 30 minutes episode. But I just couldn't watch it in one sitting. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. But it's a very good. Ali Wong and Steven Yeun and everyone is fucking fantastic in it. But like, never again. No.
Never
So
again.
much emotional damage from that show.
I don't know if it's one of those ones that I know it looks really good, but I've never gotten around to it. Kind of for that exact reason, because it is about two people who fucking hate each other.
Yeah.
But in that way, that means that they kind of understand each other better than basically anybody else. It's like, I don't know, it looks really interesting, but that kind of tension, I don't know if I'd be able to sit with it properly.
it's not an easy watch. I'm gonna say it like this. It's like it's very good. Never again. Too much damage. Anyway, that's all I watched. I watched a ton of things. Very proud of myself. Don't ask when.
Oh dear.
Anyway.
Somebody's been eating sleep crimes again.
What are you talking about?
No, I've not been watching anything really because I'm on a real video game binge at the moment. Yeah, and so I have absolutely no scope to do anything else other than work. So when I'm not working, I'm playing games because I've started Final Fantasy Rebirth, and I'm so not very far into it. So that's going to be basically all I'm playing for the next probably month because I won't have time to do much else.
Fair.
I started trying to catch up on Critical Role. I got maybe 20 minutes into an episode and then had to go to bed.
Yeah.
Nice. I will catch up on you one day, my love.
One day when it's like already 20 plus hours. Katie.
I'm already at that point. I'm 6 episodes behind.
Oh, okay.
I haven't watched
more
since like
than
December.
Nice. Yeah.
I'll get back to it, I promise.
Yeah, I know. It's okay.
I'm
so good.
tired.
And obviously, I watched it on day one. Binged it. Cried my eyes out. Katie watched it as well. Not on day one.
No.
Avatar The Last Airbender. We're going to talk about it because that's why you're all here. I'm assuming. So we can just, spit out all the love. Especially on my side. But anyway, I hope I didn't see your hand correctly. I just looked up and I was like, what was that? Oh no. Anyway.
No, I'm being very fair. We'll go with that. Do you want me to start?
Yes, give me your spoiler-free thoughts.
My
Spoiler-free.
My spoiler-free thoughts. Thank you, brain. Mouth noises. My spoiler-free thoughts are that it is like decent. It's not flawless. It's got pretty big flaws, and those flaws are the dialogue and the pacing. However, the production design, the casting, the costuming, the makeup are all phenomenal. Like, genuinely phenomenal. But yeah, the dialogue is bad in a lot of places, in that it is heavily expositional in a way that kind of is talking down to the audience in not a fun way. But like, I mean, that's kind of my main thing. And I find the pacing to be not great. It got better. It got a lot better after that pilot, which I think is not the best pilot I've ever seen. But it does it finds its footing a little bit as it goes on. I've watched apparently more of the show than I remembered, because I did start watching it a while ago, but didn't get very far. And then realised that I'd gotten to, I think the last episode that I watched, that I have distinct memories of watching, was once they get to Omashu in the original animated series. So I'd like, which, considering how much of stuff that they managed to put in, is more than I thought I had gotten through. But yeah, no, I have, it's not even like I'm annoyed about it. I'm just like, nah, that's not great, but they can improve on that. That sort of a thing. It's good. The characters are great, and it's very, there's nothing wrong with. They think they've got the world building of the whole thing very much down. They just did it very heavy-handedly.
I'm gonna say, interesting. That's my catchphrase when I need to like calm down my head. Interesting.
Okay.
To be fair, so Katie, as she just told us, she hasn't seen the original animated series.
All of
it. Not all of it. Badly animated, if we are fair, because it's like, I think they get to Omashu in episode 4, as well in the animated. So it's like, anyway. But I've seen the animated. Fucking love it. I was worried about this one when the news came out. Like, all of the, Sokka is this and no longer this, and Qatar is no longer blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh my God, how can you do that? And I learned not to trust news anymore and just judge for myself. That was the lesson I took away from the entire experience with it. And I think a lot of people need to relearn that lesson. And
that's just true, generally speaking.
It is, yeah. I mean, and the other thing is like, watch it for yourself and decide for yourself what you think, because I will say this at the very beginning. I cannot stand people who obviously hate on it because it got trendy to hate on it. And you can tell that they haven't seen a single episode, but they just, picked out a few things that they saw online, people mentioning, and they were like, yeah, fucking hammer it in. Yeah, it's so bad. And I haven't seen a single episode, but fuck, it's so bad. And I'm like, fuck you. Like,
it kills the actual art of genuine criticism to
Yeah.
just like
100%.
start shitting on things that you haven't experienced yourself. Taking a second to actually be critical about a piece or any piece of art, and actually decide what you feel about it and what you intellectually take from it is they're very different things. And if you're just sitting there going like, I just don't like it on principle, I'm like, okay, at a certain point you have to shut up.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and then the other thing is, I already talked about this, but I will never shut up about this. Just because it's trendy to hate on it, and then you go around and fucking body shame people who are in it and who are like, some of them are actual children still. Also, fuck you. Like, what are you thinking? What exactly is going on in your head when you do stuff like that? I do not understand. Like,
behavior.
it's fuck. Anyway, I fucking loved it.
Yeah,
And
I
yes,
know.
I am not the salty one this time around. I didn't think it's gonna capture me this much, but I actually, and it was very weird to hear you say that you didn't like the pacing, because actually what they had to put in, because it's a 20 episode first season for the original one. They obviously left out a ton of filler episodes that are in the animated, and they are so good in the animated. I do think that they made the right call to say, we don't have time for that. And just left it behind.
I don't disagree. Most of my pacing issues come from the pilot specifically. I think the pilot is rushed and it relies very heavily on like doing intense exposition in order to get the audience caught up, as opposed to kind of drip feeding that to us as we go on, which I don't. I feel like there wasn't a lot of it doesn't feel particularly deft, let's put it that way.
I don't like exposition too much either, but and since you've seen the first few episodes, obviously you can talk on this, but I kind of get it why they did it so heavy-handedly at the beginning, especially because you have to remember we live in a world where people's attention span is like 7 seconds.
That's the thing. I don't think that means that we should be then shoving things down people's throats. I think we need to be reteaching audiences how to watch things properly. You know what I mean?
But even if we think that, it's unfortunately, I do get why they did it this way. Like, I do understand. And we did get to see a ton of things that were never shown in the TV show in their first episode, which I very much appreciated, by the way. We're gonna get into spoiler thoughts now. So if you haven't seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, go and watch it. It's good, and well, don't believe me. Go and watch it for yourself and decide for yourself. That's the thing. Never mind that this is a review, but like, but still, you can listen to us, but make your own opinion about it.
Always.
And that's it's generally true to everything, because I think people need to learn that again. Me included. I often fall into this bit where I'm like, oh, they said this, then I'm probably not gonna watch it. Like, it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. Maybe you're missing out on something that you would otherwise enjoy. Anyway, spoiler thoughts. We obviously can't talk separately of each episode, so we're gonna talk about story, characters, and possibly favorite moments and things like that, which I already yelled about, but like, I want to do it again. Anyway, we're gonna start with story. Let's go into that one first, and let me hear your thoughts on the story and what we got in this live action adaptation.
Yeah, the story's. I mean, it's the story feels very much like the story I started watching several years ago. Like, I get the same vibe from it, which I think is very important, and helps with the whole thing. Yeah, like I found the pilot was just incredibly exposition heavy in a way that was like, I mean, they literally had Aang speaking his like character motivation out loud within the first like 10 minutes, where he's like, you are the Avatar, and he turns around to Appa and is like, I don't want to be the Avatar.
It's okay.
Sky Bison is the Avatar.
Learning new things.
Yes. I don't want to be the Avatar. I'm just a scared child. I don't want all this responsibility. Why don't we just go away for a little bit? That kind of like, it was like, it's so easy to make that implied and not said out loud. The thing that my mum kept my mother, my dear lovely mother, who watched the whole thing before me, because I went and asked her about like what she thought. She was like, it's a show for kids, and I was like, I don't think that's a good enough reason for that heavy of exposition. And then she goes, meh.
Yeah. It's also not true. Like, I'm just gonna put that in here. But yes, go on.
I mean, this version I don't think is for kids. The original version was a kids show. It was made on Nickelodeon. It was a children's TV show. Just because the audience it found was older doesn't mean that it was not originally intended for children.
Maybe.
That's just generally true.
Go on.
I get very frustrated when things are so intensely heavy-handed. I will say, lovely Marisha Ray from Critical Role has been watching all the episodes because
I knew
Avatar.
that you're gonna bring that up.
Yeah, she's been doing a very good job of putting things in a very fair way, I think. But yeah, she's been doing like a little rewatch or like a watch thing but Avatar is incredibly important to her, as you can tell if you have any knowledge of Avatar and then look at Keyleth and her whole deal. So she's been going through and watching all the episodes and then giving her thoughts and stuff. She thinks she did a great job breaking down why so many people are upset about, and I know this is in character, so we'll get to that properly in a minute, but like, why so many people are upset about the way that they've done Katara.
I'm not.
Yes. I'm okay. I'm just saying.
Okay, I'm just putting it in
there. But yeah, I think she's I don't know. There's just bits and pieces where I'm like, it's okay. That the dialogue it just is stilted in a way that feels like people who are trying to write dialogue for the sake of like so solving a problem as opposed to telling a story. And I think that part of the trouble is taking out that filler takes out time to let the characters just exist in space with each other. And I understand why, because you can't do all of that in X amount of stuff. But I think personally I would have preferred a longer season, like a little bit longer of a season where they had a bit more time, like downtime, like campfire time, basically, where people get to just sort of talk to each other, and you get to see that sort of character motivation come out in how they react to situations, as opposed to everything having to be plot all the time. Because it feels like everything, even the stuff like I get it, because the art of adaptation is very difficult. So there is a feeling of like we do need to be pushing the plot along a lot, but I feel like there has to be a space where we can have filler and like plot pushing happening. I don't know, in a bit more, what's the word, sort of simultaneous synchronicity. I don't know. And I don't feel like this show balanced particularly well. It's honestly, and like there's a lot more like intense and terrible issues with the Cowboy Bebop live action, like that it just they make it genuinely not good. But part of the reason that I think for me failed um was because Cowboy Bebop was, and I've been thinking about this a lot recently because I have a friend who's watching Cowboy Bebop again, so I've watched it. I've rewatched a couple of episodes. Part of what works about Cowboy Bebop is that it doesn't. It's a lot of people just not really doing very much. It doesn't really have a plot. Whereas the Cowboy Bebop live action show were like, we are making a plot heavy show, and it's like you have fundamentally misunderstood what we're going for here. You know, so I feel like in that space of like transferring something animated to live action, there needs to be more of a discussion about how to find that balance between plot and downtime, and like letting moments breathe and letting characters just sort of exist in space, which I feel like this show didn't do particularly well. Yeah, but I mean the story's still great. I found after that first episode was so intense, yes, it did calm down a lot, but I almost feel like there were some places where it almost calmed down too much in a way that wasn't like the way I was hoping for it to be. Like it wasn't character based, it was just like the plot started moving slowly without anything to really fill that space as much. I don't know, I'm trying to think of some specific stuff, really. But I don't know. Why don't you talk to me about what worked for you?
Everything.
Okay, I'm gonna need you to be more specific.
Look, I fucking love the original. I learned to let go of that very early on into this, because structuring an animated series that has On the Wind just corrected me, 22 episodes in the first book one. Structuring that, it's very, very different than structuring a live action series. You only have 10 episodes, and yes, those 10 episodes might be 60 minutes long or 50 minutes long.
8 episodes.
Eight?
Yeah,
sorry, 8
this
episodes.
Is what I mean.
Sorry, 8
I think it should have been 10.
I don't have a problem with how many episodes we got at all. I think that they needed to make a decision. And I think that might be where the original creators and the new people brought in butted heads a little bit. But obviously, the original creators, love them. They are perfect. Thank you for everything. And, thank you for everything that is to come still in the Avatar world. I think they were still thinking in animation, which is fine, because they've been doing that for years now. And I can understand why. And I think what they took out, which is, I hate the word, but it is more of the filler stuff. I think it made sense. Because they needed to condense all that stuff into, one very grand 8-episode season, where I do think, for example, I would have taken out Jed and everyone included in his band as well. I know that he is someone that pushes Katara forward in the animated show. But he might have been the only one that felt a bit honed in, that we're just bringing him in because people love him, and I don't think they filled up his purpose very well. So they still kept a few things that were more on the other side. Let's call it that. Maybe, I don't know. I still hate that word. And it works. It works beautifully in the animated. It works beautifully, and it makes sense. And it's a completely different genre. I think it was very important to disconnect the whole thing from it. I literally cried in the very first episode, not just because of the genocide of the air nomads, but also because I don't know. I think in scenes, in characters, in just the visuals alone, they captured the entire your feeling so well that it just instantly resonated with me, and I was like, oh, what is going on? Like, oh god. So it definitely worked for me. I understand if it didn't work for everyone who is a fan from the get-go, and I can also understand people who couldn't disconnect it from the animated show. But what I will say is that it's now very beautiful for me, for example, and I think many others feel the same way, that now I have two avatars that I can take out, and both is gonna give me something different that I can love. And I think that's the point of an adaptation. I never wanted this to be a frame to frame thing going on, because I think that's just stupid.
Yeah, then there's no point in doing it, right?
Yeah, like why would you do that? It just doesn't make sense to me to do like frame to frame. I think what they managed to capture, and I know that there are complaints of like bigger things that were left out in this first season, but I think what they managed to capture is still very good, and it's still something that can evolve into more in hopefully a season 2 and possibly a season 3 as well. So I am actually very happy about hearing about the numbers that it's bringing in. It's still number 1 here. I know it's still number 1 in like 73 countries as well. So I really hope for that season 2, because I think this was just the groundwork for what's to come. For example, many people complain that Aang never did any water bending, and he was never taught any water bending in this first season.
My man went to so many places and didn't learn anything.
Huh?
That's the joke that's been going around, is that he spent the entire thing being like, I need to go to these places to learn all this stuff, and he didn't learn anything.
That's not true.
I mean, physically. Like, he didn't learn any bending, which is what he was set out to do.
That was never said.
I mean, that's exactly what the point was. It's that he was like, I have to go do the thing I was told I had to do.
He went to find out what the avatar stated and how to get to it. And,
I suppose so, yeah.
He finds it with Kyoshi, and then goes on to talk with Roku, and he talked with so many more previous avatars than he did in the animated, which I very much enjoyed. Kyoshi is fucking badass. Anyway, so I can understand that complaint in one point of view, because obviously it was a big part of book 1. It was titled Water, by the way. But I think what they are gonna do is, and we can kind of go into characters as well. Complaints about Katara being different. I didn't mind. I didn't like Katara in the original as much as I love Mae Whitman. I was always annoyed by her. Like, I was like, shut up. She was always angry and all over the place, and I was like,
yeah, that's why people are pissed, is because she's not angry anymore.
Yeah. And I think that's a good reason for that. Like, I can see what they are trying to do with it. I think that she is building up that anger now, because in the animated one,
yeah, I think I get what you're going for. Yeah.
Yeah. In the animated one, she's angry from the get-go. Like, she's having fights with Sokka and everything, and there's a reason for that. But it's like, I feel like what they are trying to do here is to build that up even more, here, or like, why. I think we're gonna get an angry Katara, because otherwise we can get to the bloodbending that she's gonna learn later on. So
Fucking
yeah.
hell.
Yeah, there are dark stuff in Avatar. So yeah, I think they are building her up to start off a bit more, a lot more tamed, and then turn into the version that we already seen. And I might be wrong. Don't take my word on it. But I feel like that's what they are going for, because I think that the whole point of, especially the last two episodes, where she's fighting the same fight as she did in the animated one, where they didn't want to teach her because she's a woman. It's just bullshit. And I think that there the spark of the anger came out, but it also, she learned everything on her own. And I think what they're gonna do in season 2 is that she is gonna be the teacher, like the full-on teacher for Aang, in season 2, next to Toph, who needs to come because Toph is the greatest ever. Anyway, so I just really loved it. I really loved how they picked out things to keep, how they picked out things to leave behind. I will not say that it's like absolutely perfect, because it's
that's
not
really all I was going for when I was like,
Yeah.
because it's like I can see things that could do with improving, but I do think it's it's as a like just as a generally as a fantasy series, it's pretty good. As I said before, the fucking production design and the costuming is stunning.
It is.
It really is, like to be able to, especially as when bringing an animated thing to live action, a lot of the times the costumes can seem really plastic because I can't animated
Yeah.
stuff works very well because it, like, you can look at it like drawn and all the stuff, but like the moment you see it on an actual person, it's like, oh, okay, well that doesn't look exactly like, I'm not sure if that actually works as like a real piece of material sort of thing. But everything, I think it's because everything feels like it's quite quality, especially all of the Water Tribe stuff, which feels very indicative of this sort of
so
the
good.
Inuit tribe sort of
Mm-hmm.
things, which it is alluding to very heavily, obviously. That's the other thing. The casting in this is great because it is,
Good.
not only are basically everybody, wonderful, you've got a bit of child acting here and there, but, I think we can forgive because they are children.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Which is, they are children, before we go any further. But it's like, the adults in particular are brilliant in it.
Oh.
And I think, it's something, just the, I think there's something very tactile about the whole thing that I think is quite impressive. Also, considering, I'm going to put it out there, Zuko's actual hair is kind of dumb, if you think about it. He's got an entirely shaved head apart from the ponytail. Works shockingly well in live action, actually.
Yeah, I was very surprised by it.
It's like looking at like, yeah, that kind of does work.
It works. It's
Yeah, if
I
you want to
real-
move into, character.
Yeah. 1 second, because
Yeah.
I will say something. It annoyed the shit out of me. Before this even came out, and people started to slander it because it's trendy. Are the people who started saying that the movie that we do not talk about
Oh my god.
is better at costumes and basically almost everything that this show produced? Are you alright? Is everything okay?
I will say that apparently that thing that people started saying afterwards, where the movie was better because it was only 2 hours long, so it was over sooner. I was like, okay, I think you guys need to go watch some actual bad media because like it's not that bad, and also calm down.
I honestly, it just felt like that let's just push this down into the dirt, basically. And that's like it's not even true. Like those costumes were like very plain, didn't even fit the entire feel of the original that they were adapting. obviously, don't do it frame to frame, but like costumes, really? Like, why they couldn't do that? The bending looked awful, and then people started saying even that it looked better in there, and I was like, are you fucking insane? Are you, what the fuck is going on? Are we really that desperate for freaking likes and views on social media that we're just gonna come up with every single bullshit that we can and just make sure that it gets the likes for us? And I'm like, what is going on?
I think I was just appreciative of the fact that because I feel like so many of these things, they go very cheap on those parts of the creation of the project. You just end up watching it like, why does everything here feel like kind of gross? To bring up Cowboy Bebop again, the actual ship, the Bebop, kind of was like, it felt cheap. Like, all of the sets felt really cheap. They feel really good here. Like, there's a lot of detail and all that sort of stuff in it that feel really nice. And obviously the Vancouver woods always look great.
Yeah.
There was a couple of times where I was like, I think they've been by that specific stream for 2 episodes, despite the fact that we definitely moved.
But it looks good.
But it's like, yeah, it's the Vancouver woods. It's when you spend as much time watching, like, early, like, late 90s into, like, the 2000s, crime drama-y things, like, you think, X-Files and Supernatural and all of these bits and pieces, they are so heavy on those words. It's like, that's Vancouver.
That is Vancouver. Yeah, I know what you mean. Exactly. All right, let's get into characters. And I will first start with Uncle Iroh.
Yeah, he's delightful.
He's, it's no secret. He was the best in the original. He's also the best here. He's everyone's uncle. And I am very proud to say I nearly had a heart attack. Basically, like, I was very close to getting a heart attack. At this point, Paul Young-Soo Lee, who plays Uncle Iroh, he followed me on Twitter. He reposted almost everything that I ever said about Avatar, and he just reposted my drawings, and I think I'm getting followers because my phone is keep beeping. So thank you, Paul. You're my uncle from now on, just so you know. Like, you're the best. I'm so thrilled. He's such a wonderful man, and he was so perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I do think, as a strong point, Zuko and Iroh were definitely very high up there for me. And I know a lot of people love Zuko very, very, very much. So it was I know a lot of, I did see some people, or some, like, talk about, like, people thought that, like, Zuko being kind of, like, seemingly evil from the offset, and then later on you learning about, like, the reasons why. And I can see how that would work in a longer piece where you get more time between sort of things. I also think that actually doing it this way here gives you a sense of who they are fully from the off, because I don't think it actually does take away from the hot-headedness of him.
Not at all.
But I think that and to go a little bit back to the story things, I do think that episode 6 is a high point, and as I think most people have been saying, which very much focuses on their relationship and how they came to be that way and all that sort of stuff. And
people keep forgetting, but people keep forgetting that also episode 4. Because that's where we get Luten's funeral and the whole banishment of Zuko. And I'm like, I'm broken by that scene. It's, first of all, such a beautiful addition. We never got that in the animated. But it's such a beautiful addition. And both Dallas Liu play Zuko, and Paul is just also fucking tears every time.
Give props to Daniel Day Kim, the wonderful Daniel Day Kim.
You know I hate this word, but I'm going to say it. He's daddy. I'm sorry. I think I broke Katie. I'm sorry.
You can't just say these things. wrong. I'm just surprised. I think it's mostly just because I know this is not your language. like that kind of thing is not the sort of thing you say ever.
No, but like, and I hate that word in that usage. But I'm like, yes.
Christ.
Sorry. It was worth it for your laughter. I said the thing. That's correct.
Oh,
Katie's broken.
God.
Ian says.
Yeah, no, I'm fine. Let's keep going.
Yeah, it's fine. But yes. Oh yeah, he was
He's
fantastic in Lost as well. Just to point that out. But he's always fantastic. He's great. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, no, I wanted to put that in there because I think there's been a lot of focus on Iroh and Zuko, and I just wanted to give.
Deservedly so.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying not so, but like, I haven't seen as much talk about how good of a job Daniel Day-Kim did, and that's all I'm trying to do.
Yes, he is perfectly cast. I think Mark Hamill is very proud, because he is. If you don't know, Mark Hamill is the voice of Fire Lord Ozai in the animated series.
This makes sense. I can see that being a thing.
It really makes sense. And they did an interview with Daniel in, I think, for Vogue. I'm not 100% sure. And he spoke so nicely about Mark Hamill. And I always love when people love Mark Hamill, because Mark Hamill is great. And now Daniel Day-Kim is our other Ozai, and it works perfectly.
Daniel Day-Kim was one of the people who was at that Rodgers and Hammerstein concert I went to see.
I know. I'm already envy.
He was wonderful watching him and Maria Friedman do a couple of things from The King and I. It was really lovely. It was the reason why my lovely mother sent me. She was like, "We should go see this," and I'm like, "Yes, I want to see Aaron Tveit. You want to see Daniel Day-Kim? We both are happy here."
Yeah, I would have been for Daniel Day-Kim as well. To be fair, I'm like, yes,
he was great. But yeah, other character things. I can't quite get over how much, and I forgot to look his name up. The gentleman playing soccer looks like him from the anime. It's bizarre. Like, it's a genuinely slightly uncanny valley. I'm like, how do you have the same nose? That's not a common nose. You look just like him. What's that about?
And he's so good at soccer. Like, from the
very,
first
very
minute,
good.
I was like, that's soccer. Yes. 100%. I was so happy with him. I was like, yeah, I love it.
Yeah, no, he's wonderful. To Erica's point earlier, I do think high point again a little bit for me was Kyoshi Island, because I really, really like Yuki, and I want more of her.
Yeah. Oh, we will get more.
I know, but I want more of her now.
Wait, what? Paul is 4 years younger than Danielle?
Apparently. Okay, we can't be leaving dead air. This is a podcast.
that broke my head. Like, that what? What? Jesus, what I learned today is okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, Kyoshi Island was great.
I think it was for me that was very much a high point. I really liked watching the two of them interact with each other and her teaching him how to like do the moves.
Oh, that was so beautiful.
It was cute. It was really cute, and they had really good chemistry. And we haven't. You know what we haven't spoken about? There are at least 2 Teen Wolf people in this show.
2 what? Sorry.
There are 2 people from Teen Wolf in this show.
Oh, that's true. That is true.
Her lovely mother, who
was
Kira's mother, and then Kira herself.
I know. I was so happy when they announced that Arden Cho is going to be in this, because she deserves so much. Especially after the shit.
Absolutely. I'm always so happy when she's getting work.
Oh yeah.
I feel like there was one point though, and I could be entirely wrong about this, and I didn't actively check. So please don't take me, don't take me entirely at my word. You're welcome to check this out yourself. I thought I saw Desmond at one point as like a background character.
Oh, you mean Desmond Chiam?
Yeah. I could be wrong, but there was a moment in that bar or pub, what inn, I guess is probably a better word for it, when when they are hiring June
Yeah,
to do that,
yeah,
where when Zuko's finding out that everybody knows about the fact that the Avatar is
yeah,
back.
yeah. Yeah.
There's
That was
somebody
so.
in the back there that sounded and looked quite a lot like Desmond, and I didn't go back and check it properly. I could be entirely wrong. Um, I
Oh.
might be reading into things. It was Telly was far away, and it was the person was quite small in the image, but
Yeah.
I was like, Desmond, is that you?
You have to message Desmond and ask, like, is that you?
That'd be very embarrassing for me if I'm wrong,
Hi.
though. But
But
yeah, it's just a lot
maybe
of
it was him.
he might have been. We wouldn't be
They are friends
surprised.
with Arden, and he's kind of working for Netflix as well. So
That's what I thought. This is why I didn't think it was like that much of a stretch. But like I didn't look closely enough.
I
To
will
be
check now. Like.
but yeah, Erica says she can't find anything on Google for it. But
Yeah.
I think it will have to be like an actually looking at the episode sort of thing. Um, uh, but yeah, I just like lots of just generally very very good casting all around the board.
Oh yeah.
Um, I don't think I have any much more to say beyond that. Really?
I do.
So you go.
I do. I do. People were also heavily criticizing Dallas Liu before the show even came out, and they picked like one tiny thing that Netflix shared, and they were like, "Oh, that's bad acting." He was so perfect as Zuko. I was so blown away by
brilliant.
him. Like the sassiness, the
I think he has
hot-headedness.
I think he has some of the best comedic moments in the season
Oh,
as well.
fuck yeah! Especially that scene. I nearly died. There were two. First, he's talk like, so they saw people. No, so they saw ice in a place where shouldn't be ice, and that little like neck roll, like being like, "Are you stupid?" Basically saying it, just body language, and I'm like, "What the fuck? That's brilliant." And then the whole like capturing the avatar, and then going back to getting back my honor from my father, blah blah blah, and I always like, "So you don't have a plan? I'm working on it, uncle." And I was like, "Yep, that's
Um,
Zuko right there."
yeah, no, I think it's. I think he's. I think he. I did. I think he was. I thought he was brilliant. I
Yes,
don't know how to use words and
that's
make them
fine.
come out of my mouth in an order that I intend them to.
You're tired. It's okay. It's okay. Also, highlighting Ken Leung, who played Zhao.
Mm.
So good. I will say it here as well because I love this fact that he told that he was auditioning for James Cameron's Avatar. And then he later found out that no, it was Avatar: The Last Airbender, and he went, "Oh, that makes more sense." I fucking love that man.
Bless him.
And
I
and
love
they
Ken
made
Leung.
Zhao so much better in this series. Like I loved his entire character arc so much more. I also loved that because in the original, Azula only comes in season 2, and Ozai is only at the end of season 1, I believe.
Mm.
I love how they deepen the entire story of not just Zuko and Iroh, but the entire like family side of like Ozai and Azula, and I think that there's going to be some great things coming, especially from the Fire Nation side of things. I am very excited to see how they're gonna unfold Azula's craziness because she's getting there.
Mm.
She's getting there, and the fact that he's her dad is like raging fucking psychological warfare on his own kids is definitely helping the case. Fun. Also, the Agni Kai was so much more heartbreaking here. I think than it was in the animated. Like, oh, hats off in front of Daniel Dakim and Dallas Liu. They did it perfectly. And then also we cannot forget about Amber Mid Thunder.
Yes, I love whenever she pops up. I'm happy.
Yes,
She's
I was
amazing.
so happy to see her. Many people slander her. She's good.
She's
You know,
great.
she's great.
Some people because they didn't watch Legion.
Or Prey. Go and watch that as well. So anyway, fucking love the casting of everything.
I knew where that was going simply because I was thinking about the "That's Rough, Buddy" meme, and I had googled it a couple episodes beforehand. I was like, what is the context of that again? I can't remember. Found the line about how it's because Sokka says his first girlfriend turned into the moon, and I was like, oh, I've put the pieces together. So when we got there, I was like, she's gonna turn into the moon.
Yeah. She is.
I know where we're going now.
Also, I would like to point out, because we didn't talk about this in our Kaosu special watching now, also watch that as well, but Momo now also has the moon spirit in him. Just saying.
Why didn't that little monkey sacrifice himself?
No! Not Momo! What are you talking about?
I'm kidding.
Oh my god!
I'm kidding.
Momo is the best.
I was making a joke.
It's not funny. Momo is the greatest. Anyway.
I did enjoy that quite a lot. Yeah, no, she's great. I love watching Amber Mid Thunder in everything that she does.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Should we move on to best parts of the series then?
Yes.
Yes.
You start.
Yeah, I do think that the episode 6 is a high point for me. I think I think that encapsulates where I would want the pacing to be all the time. Because I think it does a lot because I think that whole arc took more episodes than I thought it was going to start off with. And then but you got a lot of character motivation in the back of that. And it was kind of that's kind of what I wanted from a lot of the show in that sort of space where you get all that character motivation, even if it's not for. I also think that the conversations between Zuko and Aang in that episode are great. That's what I want from all of it, because I think they did a good job of making it subtle, and I think it was very close. It was right on that edge of being you could go very heavy into having somebody change their mind super quickly here, but they didn't, which I have to. I'm good. I'm glad, because you can't have somebody change their mind that quickly.
No.
But you've sowed the seeds of doubt, which is an important part of a character arc like that. I really liked that whole conversation a lot. What other bits did I like? Yeah, I liked more stuff. I promise. I think that one's the one that just sort of stands out a lot for me personally. So you talk now.
Okay, so obviously the addition of the 41st Division that Zuko basically saved deepens his entire arc so much more, and that's what I meant when I said that they are doing them I didn't think it was possible because I already loved them based on the animated series alone. I fucking love them even more. I don't know how they did it, and it was tiny things. It wasn't even huge things, but it just so beautifully done. I will also say again, because I already said that, I fucking love the fight between Aang and Zuko in Omashu. And especially when the woman came in, "Stop hitting that child! Stop hitting that child!" And I was like, fuck yeah.
I did enjoy that whole thing about the fact, because I found that out after the fact that he stole the journal and him being entirely, and I love the fact that he's that's the sticking point for him. You fucking took my journal, you little bitch.
Fire.
That's good. That's good content.
It is so good. And you can understand this reference, Katie. So I trust you. King Boomy. I swear to God. Yes. Whenever he talked, he did anything, It was fucking Merlin.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
I was sitting there like, am I rewatching Merlin? That's he had so many of like, even some of the laughs, and especially when he did that, like little like, it's like that was such a Colin Morgan thing to do for me. I was like,
that's fun. I
it's
can think I could see that. I don't, it's not. It was not the first thing I thought of, but like,
oh yeah, it literally. I don't know. I really love Merlin. Everyone knows this, but like, I don't know. I immediately was like, Emrys. I love that.
Myth.
Yeah, but
Wait, fucking never mind.
I also love the entire thing where I was first against it. This was one of my mistakes that I said at the beginning. That Aang is like immediately getting into like, okay, I need to do this. But I will say this, and I will defend this 100% still. It makes sense in this adaptation that he's like not going around and looking for adventures and trying to still be a kid, because he's been gone for 100 years, and basically every people they meet is hammering it in like, boy, like, because of you we kind of, it's kind of messed up here.
It's a
and
little
he
bit
understands.
like, I feel like seeing what happened a little bit undercuts some of it for me. Only because everybody's like, you fucking left us. I'm like, he just left for like 5 minutes and then got stuck in a storm. It's not his fault.
Yeah, but it still happened. That's the thing. Like, whether it is his fault or not, it still happened.
Yeah, it's just like the way that everybody was like, "You child, you abandoned us." It's like, well, I don't think he intended to. It's like, I don't know. I see what they were going. I know what it was going for, but like, I think the watching of it really hammered home, for at least from an audience perspective, how much it was like, okay, get off his tits, all right, I also feel like there's a bit of there's a small bit of like confusion, I think, that comes from the fact that he's like, no, I do have a quest I need to go on. Meanwhile, there's a lot of people being like, you need to take responsibility for what's going on, which I feel like doesn't fit as one-to-one, because he's not avoiding the responsibility of the whole thing as much. I can see what they're going for. I don't know. It's like the sort of like, it's almost like the pathways only don't entirely line up for me in like motivation. I think it feels a little clunky in execution. Especially there's a couple of points throughout the season where Aang reiterates a lot of the lessons that he's already meant to have learned. Where he's like, and now I've learned this, and I'm like, you learned that 2 episodes ago. I remember because you said so at the time as well. So I'm a little bit like, that's the sort of thing when I'm talking about in the dialogue where I'm getting, I get frustrated, where it's like, we know you learnt this already. You said so before. You don't need to tell us again. Just show us, that kind of vibe.
No, I get what you mean. Like, but I do think, and mostly I do hope that, obviously this is the most active part of like the release and everything, that they are listening, basically, and they obviously seeing everything that people are saying, even the awful stuff, but like, you can't really do much about that. Yeah, but I would be very happy if I'm gonna hate on it just because it's trendy thing would die finally. I'm literally I'm not even gonna lie, I'm so done with negativity, and especially like unprovoked negativity, and what I mentioned at the beginning where I'm just gonna hate it because it's trendy and I didn't even watch the thing. That I'm just blocking people who do that. Because I do not care.
Yeah, no, as you should, to be honest.
I do not care. I'm like, nope, goodbye. Also, I did not know, because I will just put this in here, that I wasn't aware that apparently people didn't like Legend of Korra, and Korra especially, and I'm like, huh?
I think I've heard that before.
I didn't know about that. Like, I fucking love Legend of Korra. I will be as brave to say that I think I love Legend of Korra a lot more than I love The Last
If I
Airbender.
remember correctly, I think Marisha Ray would agree with you.
Yeah.
um, yeah.
So I didn't know that, and I'm very surprised to find that out now on Twitter. I was like,
Is it because she's a complicated woman?
she's fucking great. I think I simply like Cora's story a lot more because it really was like it was 4 seasons, and it was 4 seasons with 4 different villains and struggles, and she went through so much. And I'm not saying that Aang didn't, but like while I could say that The Last Airbender feels more like something that was created for kids, I think Legend of Korra was very much created for the older audiences.
They made it for the audience that ended up finding the original thing. That makes
Yeah.
I could see that how that would be a thing. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So that's why I'm very surprised by the entire thing. I'm like, oh, really? Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the only other thing was what I mentioned before. I think Kyoshi Island and all that sort of stuff was probably I really those I love the Kyoshi Warriors. Like the moment they came up, and I was like, I remember watching. I was like, oh no, I do remember this from like the animated series. But I just enjoyed the whole aesthetic is great, and I don't know the woman who played Yuki, except I do, and I forgot to look up her name. But like when I was watching her, I was like, she's very familiar. But I just like she has a great presence about her that I very much enjoyed, and I am very excited to see more of her, provided we get more, which we will. Let's be real. I think at this point I think it's done well enough that they'd be silly not to do more of it.
Oh yeah, I really hope that's not gonna happen. I will tell you who she is in a second because I'm already here. Where are you? Where are you? I saw an awful and very stupid Maria Zhang. Sorry. All I ever wanted. She didn't do many things. She did 5 things and that's it.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe I did look her up before though, because it's just she's got I don't know. There's something about her that seemed familiar, but maybe she's just got one of those faces.
She's very good. She's very good. Also, another thing is that someone called her out for having pretty privilege because she gained 500,000 followers after Avatar, and I'm like,
okay,
what?
That's just being in a TV show.
Exactly. I was so confused. I was like, what?
That's just
what
being in a TV show as a beloved character. I don't what. Anyway, I think we've gotten to a point where we can kind of wrap up, right?
Yes. Yeah. 100%. So how would you rate this season?
This season, I think.
Yes.
7.5. I feel pretty good about that. I think it's got a decent amount to like work on, but I think that the stuff that is good, I think there was a clear focus on the right things in like making sure that the foundational like world building stuff feels very solid. In the the makeup and the costuming and the production design and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. I mention the makeup a lot because Zuko's scar is like again, it's that thing of it's like it's uncanny how well it works.
Yeah, and also Aang's arrow is like they show it a lot of times very up close, and it does have like
it's intricate, yeah.
And I was like, huh. And people kept saying that the movie one is better. Anyway, it's so beautifully done. Fucking loved it. Yeah, I could deal with the 7.5. It's better than Tom's 6.
Who's Tom?
I'm gonna introduce you to Tom. I do love Tom, but like anyway, I'm staying at my 9. I fucking loved every minute of it. I think I rewatched Liu Tan's funeral like 100 times at this point, and I already watched the entire series twice. Just putting it out there.
Of course you have.
Yes. I can't explain, like, I had like, for a long time now, I was a bit tired of I mentioned this before of movies and TV shows, and I tend to only watch like Korean dramas and movies. They are very good. But I think I'm finding my way back nice and slow, and I think my brain is happy about that as well, because there are still very good content out there. I'm happy to say that. So yeah, I was very happy with Avatar: The Last Airbender, and again, my lesson is learned. I will never again judge anything by stupid news that comes out of about it. I will wait and see for myself.
Cool. All right.
Coolio. Yeah. We're gonna be back next week.
We will be back on Thursday next week.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Do you remember how I was saying that Thursday was my actual day off? It won't be.
Yeah.
We'll be doing this.
Yep.
Every time. It's fine. I love this podcast.
That was very believable.
No, I do. I'm just tired.
I know. It's okay. And we will be talking about Spaceman, which is Adam Sandler's new movie. I just watched it, and I cried because of a spider. That's all you need to know.
She gave that time. She gave more context. When she told me, she just told me she cried about a spider. Didn't tell me the fact that she was watching a movie.
I mean, Spaceman came out today, and I had to watch it, so I did before we came on. Sorry. Ian just said, puts Ahsoka's hairline to shame. And that's very true. That still gives me nightmares. When they took off Ahsoka's headband, and it was like, what happened? What's this?
You just stuck a piece on. It's fine.
Very true, Ian. Thank you for the laugh. So we will be back next week. Until then, don't forget to watch movies. Share this with people who you love or you don't love. I don't know. Just share it. Also, I have a website now, and you can support my art and myself, because I have to pay taxes and all that. So fun times. It's artoflilk.com, and I think yes, you can order everything worldwide, and I'm gonna deliver it for you. Not personally, that would be weird and a lot of money, but like
fully Santa Clausing herself across the world.
Yes, just flying around. But yes,
I have nothing to promote. But if you want to hire me,
yes, and also
for,
hire
work,
Katie.
I'd take that. I'm very good at calendar management. I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
We love you all.
I'm going to put the Be Right Back screen back on now.
Yes,
we won't
watch movies,
but
no,
that's what you're getting.
Yeah, because I keep forgetting to make another one. But anyway.
I could make one, but I also haven't had the time.
There you go. Watch movies, people, and subscribe.
Bye, my friends.
Bye.